Good morning here from Norco, California, here for the 2021 College Championships. It's Championship Monday here today, joined with Mike Ball. I'm Adekale Ande, here for the D3 men's final, facing Oklahoma Christian Eagles and the Middlebury Pranksters. Mike, we should have an exciting contest and championship game here today.
Yeah, it's beautiful weather, beautiful venue, awesome field, two great teams. We're all set for a big game today and a well-played match between two teams that have looked really clean and dominant on their path to the final.
Yeah, we have the 3 seed taking on the 4 seed. It should be a really exciting contest here today. I'm looking at some specific matchups here today. Kyle Hankey, Leo Silva Fernandez, that matchup in mind. I'm looking to see those two probably guard each other the whole match here today.
Yeah, it's kind of a story of Oklahoma Christian's clean offense against Middlebury, seeing if they can do anything to mess that up. The OC offense has been incredible all weekend, only getting broken a couple of times in pool play, and really just controlling every matchup that they're in, not getting rattled early. So it's going to be a test to see if the Pranksters can do anything to shake up this dominant Eagles O-line.
See, a little bit of a good crowd on hand there in the stands. So they're getting ready. You see the Middlebury is going to be donning those darks, Oklahoma Christian in white.
And it looks like we'll get an early look here at this Oklahoma Christian O-line as they're going to be receiving the first pull. Middlebury actually also has their women's team in the final that will be played after this one. So they've got their women's team on the sideline supporting them, and I'm sure they'll be ready to return the favor next round.
And as you see the sideline there for Middlebury, and I think that's going to be the biggest difference maker here in this game, Mike. If Middlebury can make this game just, chaotic, I think that's going to be playing towards their advantage here.
Yeah, you're going to see two types of intensity from these teams. Middlebury's is a very external intensity. It's a very loud and raucousness that they're going to try and use to build momentum and swing things their way. Oklahoma Christian, you'll hear some sideline noise and presence from them, but the bigger deal for them is going to be keeping that internal focus, keeping locked in and being resilient to the raucousness that is Middlebury.
And you see Middlebury already beginning there on the sideline with their antics. Excited for this one as we're awaiting opening pull. And I believe Leo Silva Fernandez will start things off. Set off the pull here for the Pranksters of Middlebury.
Yeah, if you tuned into our semifinal yesterday between Middlebury and St. Olaf, you saw Silva Fernandez really make his mark on the game defensively. It'll be interesting to see what matchup he takes, if we see him take the Kyle Hankey matchup, or if the Middlebury leadership thinks he could be more impactful elsewhere. I think we'll probably get our answer here pretty quickly.
We are awaiting opening pull. Game 1 here on Championship Monday. Let's see what both teams have in store for us.
I expect the Pranksters to come down in a matchup defense, and I expect Oklahoma Christian to try and set up a deep look early, see if they can get one of their stars isolated in some space.
See an immediate deep pull. This will be centered now. Nice undercut into the middle. Now an immediate shot deep down the line. Will it be in? No, it will not. Oklahoma Christian knocking on the doorstep. Good rotation of the disc here now inside. Teetering, and that will be a score. OC opens us up 1-0.
Yeah, ideal start there for Oklahoma Christian. We talked about their offense and how clean they've been all weekend. And once again, you see no turnover, hold, easy as you like it. They did a nice job running a side stack look there to set up the isolation for Elliott Moore, who was then able to hit Evan Card at the warning track, and a few throws later, Michael Paniagua, with the hold.
So that was a great first look there at OC's O-line. Able to kind of methodically work it down the field and open us up 1-0 here in the men's final.
You get a look there at Oklahoma Christian coach Garrett Taylor giving the game plan to Oklahoma Christian. I talked to him a little bit before the game, and he said he did some film study last night on Middlebury and thinks he has a game plan for how to stifle some of the Middlebury looks. He admitted that they're going to be a little tougher than some of their previous opponents on the weekend because Middlebury will throw a different setup every time. They're not going to start their offense with the same set every time. They're going to switch between some vert stack, some horizontal stack, some side stack. So we'll see what kind of look they start the game with here on their first offensive point.
See this cop by Atkins, they're centered to Frankenberg. Immediate undercut. And we're going to have a call. Looks like a travel was called on Frankenberg.
Glad to see the observer wave that off, set the tone early. That seemed like a trivial call at best. Not sure there was much to gain from making it.
Back to Frankenberg here in the center. Middlebury looking to expose these undercuts and then set up their deep shot. A lot of give and goes now. Up to Frankenberg again. Hanscom back to Frankenberg. Working it down the sideline. And up and in there to Hanscom for the score. We're knotted up at 1 apiece.
Yeah, interesting defense there from Oklahoma Christian. They started off in a bracket of sorts, a little 3-3-1 wall to try and mess up the Middlebury pull play. They had Hankey playing over the top as a cap of sorts, and he never really locked in on a single matchup. You saw him just kind of poaching into the open side lane the whole time. Really nice patience from Middlebury, particularly Frankenberg. He kind of went every other on that point, but not getting greedy, taking what was being given to them, finding the open person, and just walking the disc up the fourth side into the end zone.
I mean, that's something we kind of circled going into this one. Just, the O-lines for both these teams, executing to perfection so far. But I'm looking to see what team kind of steps up here defensively and really creates that first turning point in this match.
Yeah, you get a look at the bracket here. You see the journey both these teams took to get to the final. Oklahoma Christian got the win in the semifinal yesterday over Richmond, and Middlebury in a double game point classic over St. Olaf to earn their spot in the final. I talked to some of the Richmond players about that semi yesterday, and they felt like that they shot themselves in the foot a few too many times, and that if they'd have been more disciplined and not given Oklahoma Christian the disc so many times, that the Eagles might not have taken it from them. It'll be interesting to see if Middlebury can stay more disciplined.
Hankey with the disc. Now into Elliott Moore. Working it down this near sideline. Back to Moore in the center.
We see Sovo Fernandez with the Moore matchup.
Excellent patience here from OC. Moore trying to free up and get open. Sovo Fernandez doing a good job of shadowing him. Back to Hankey. And a stall was called.
Be interesting to see what comes out of this call. The observer was right there and had a great view of it.
He had it off in time. Stay in there, stay in one.
Quick decision making there. It will remain OC disc.
Like that quick call from our crew in orange.
Hankey surveying. Lower throw. Moore trying to free up here from Sovo Fernandez. Now a blade across the stack.
That's a sweet throw from Van Rosemond.
Back to Hankey. Hankey cuts up line. OC just feeling comfortable resetting it to their handlers. Now back to Hankey. Across the goal line there for a score.
Couple of really nice throws to open up the break side there for OC. I know Hankey gets the continuation to Paniagua for the goal, but that was really opened up by number 19, Jonathan Costello. Really nice inside flick that moved Hankey out into space on the break side, and it made the continuation throw nice and easy.
Yeah, they just never seemed out of sorts there, or rushed. They were just working the disc around, and that blade across the stack really opened up the whole width of the field.
Yeah, that's a good shout as well. That blade over the top from Van Roosmalen. Risky throw, but we have really still conditions here right now. No wind to speak of, or at least nothing notable on the field right now. So that makes those bladey throws over the top a more viable option.
So both teams trading shots in this one early on. You see the sidelines of Middlebury getting after it right now. Trying to amp up their O-line.
So the last O-point, Middlebury came out in a horizontal stack, and Oklahoma Christian came out in that 3-3-1 bracket to try and break it up. A little bit different personnel here from OC. Elliott Moore crossing over instead of Kyle Henke on this D-point. You'll likely see one or two of the O-line stars from Oklahoma Christian cross over per D-point. Be interesting to see if we get more of them as the game goes on, if it stays tight. But we'll see what kind of look we get here on the second defensive point.
Into Frankenberg here in the center. Inside. Now an immediate deep look to Hanscom in the end zone. Will he get there? And Moore with the incredulous bid.
Wow, what a block from Moore. He had the inside track there and was giving up a few inches on Hanscom. Was able to elevate and extend. He gets the block, and now he'll be picking up the disc with 70 to go for the Oklahoma Christian break.
That was just ridiculous there by Moore.
Great body control to make sure he avoided contact. That's a really nice bid.
See, nice outside flick around. Back to Moore. Have to work it out from their own end zone.
Yeah, that's Sammy Roberts finding Kamari there. This Oklahoma Christian D-line has punched in breaks quickly, looking to be aggressive and huck. They're being patient right now, but I'm sure a deep shot is coming here shortly.
Moore with the disc. Thought about rearing back for the around.
Great mark from Hanscom to deny that. He wanted to throw that deep.
OC having a little bit of trouble now. Moore in power position. Will shoot it deep. Running onto the disc. Will he get there? Well, no, he will not. Kamari just running out of space there in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, and obviously Oklahoma Christian wants to complete that throw. You always want to complete it, but they're going to be happy to live with that turnover. They took a shot in the end zone. They had one of their better athletes in Kamari out in space and one of their better throwers and Moore shooting it. They'll live with that turnover every time and make the Middlebury offense go full 70.
Working the disc around now, back up to Frankenberg. He's going to lay one out there. A nice throw down the line, now across the middle. There to Atkins. And there's a score. Hanscom puts it in and knots us up at 2 apiece.
Saw Moore come inches away from getting another block there. He was almost baiting that deep shot. Utmost confidence in himself, but a nice driven throw from Frankenberg instead of trying to float out to space. Really broke that point open. And a few throws later, we see the same connection as the first goal. Frankenberg to Hanscom for the hold.
So both teams trading punches so far. Really keeping this one tight. Mike, first 4 points, so far what you expected?
Yeah, it's about what I expected. I think it makes sense that the first break opportunity of the game came for Oklahoma Christian just based on how clean the Eagles' offense has been. I think it's going to take more than 2 points for Middlebury to get that break opportunity. I think one of the things that we've seen is both sides utilizing some throws that maybe haven't been viable all weekend. We've usually had a steady breeze in these games this weekend, but both teams have used cross-field blades to really open things up, and I wonder if that's going to make the defenses adjust a little bit. Both sides are using some bracketing and some poaching, and those brackets have been exposed by those blades. I wonder if the defenses are going to have to play a little more honest as the throws are a little more viable in this game than they have been the rest of the weekend.
That's a good point. I mean, absolutely right now, no wind in sight. Picture perfect morning here for Frisbee in this championship game. See Sovel Fernandez there on the pull. A lot of hang time there, giving Middlebury the opportunity to set up their defense.
Another side stack look for Oklahoma Christian.
Trying to isolate Henke here on the near sideline. Catching that one with his face. See Moore with the disc. So Fernandez trying to shade on the inside.
There's another blade.
Some giving goes. Henke wanting the disc back. Just nothing down the field here for OC. More far sideline. And we're going to have a call down the field to pick.
Something I'd like to see here now that Middlebury's defense is in the short field. Drumheller's got the Henke matchup, and he flipped it here. He's got his hips pushing Henke away from the disc and upfield. That's a nice throw from Moore. But prior to that, Drumheller had been giving up free resets to Henke. I'd like to see him be a little more aggressive with his positioning.
An inside flick there in the middle, and then a big bid, but nowhere inside near the disc. And that's another score there for OC. So they retake the lead 3-2.
Yeah, Paniagua has been directly involved with all 3 goals. Not really prominently involved in the build-up to him, but he's got a nose for the end zone right now, and he's finding those little spaces at the goal line that are leading to the goals. Nice little inside shot there, taking advantage of his defender being a little overzealous maybe on stopping the around.
And I mean, so far in this one, the offenses have just been pacing so far. I mean, nothing really too forced. They've been working around. If they don't got anything downfield, they're very comfortable in just moving it with their handlers.
Yeah, and we had the St. Olaf Middlebury Call United yesterday out of Calais, and one of the things we commented on, albeit in windier conditions, was how Middlebury stayed with a matchup defense the entire time. They didn't throw any sort of zone looks or anything like that. They stayed in a matchup defense. Be curious to see if that's the case here today as well. It's interesting. Normally teams like to throw a zone in windier conditions where the disc can get hung up in the air and make their opponent throw the disc more times. There's some benefit to be had against an athletic team like Oklahoma Christian of, yes, in these still conditions, the throws are going to be better, but making them beat you a little more with throws or just even making them beat you a different way, take them out of the rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. I mean, if one of these teams, especially Middlebury, was to, just throw a different look at OC offensively, and throw a junky look out there, you're going to make them think and work a little bit harder. You might be able to create a turn.
Speaking of a different look, Oklahoma Christian rolls the pole out of bounds, trying to trap Middlebury early on the sideline, and we have a collision in the middle of the field.
It's good sportsmanship there between both players.
There's a little blade over the top of the line here that's open. I'm not sure if Atkins has that throw, but it's there if he has it.
Up to Frankenberg. Frankenberg needing a reset. Down the line once again.
It's a great strike cut.
Shore with the disc. Up again to Frankenberg once again. And down the line once to Hanscom for his second score of the day.
Yeah, I've actually got that as his third. All 3 Middlebury holds have been the exact same connection. Frankenberg to Hanscom up the line. These OC junk looks are really taking away the deep shot for Middlebury, but Middlebury is more than content to just keep grinding it up the line. Be interested to see how much longer Coach Garrett Taylor sticks with this look or if he makes some adjustments here early on, because the Middlebury offense looks extremely comfortable.
Max Hanscom, add 1 to that total. 3 scores on the day. He has been just a staple here in this offense, especially in that final third, finding the end zone 3 times. So 3-3, the score here in this one.
And for the first time, we're seeing Middlebury cross over some O-line personnel to this D-line. In particular, Frankenberg's going to be out there. He's a plus defender, but more importantly, putting him out there, if they do manage to get the turn, is going to increase their chances of converting a break opportunity. And against an opponent like Oklahoma Christian, they're going to have to be sharp as can be, take advantage of every chance that they get, because who knows how many opportunities at a break they'll have.
Exactly, and in a game with such gravity and immense importance, you got to be able to throw your best players out there, regardless if they're O-line or D-line. Just put the best 7 on to give you a chance. And Moore sending one deep here to Henke. Green pastures for the score. Takes the lead back up for OC, 4-3 here over the Pranksters.
That is the offense that we have seen from Oklahoma Christian all weekend. One shot kill there. Huge throw from Moore as we see the celebration from Henke and Moore. Those two are teammates together, both at the pro level playing for Austin Soul and at the club level for Austin Double Wide, and we see the chemistry in action there.
A nice 1-2 punch. You show you the replay, almost a set play. Moore just rearing back there for that big backhand, and Henke knows what to do with the rest of that.
Yeah, and Middlebury's done a good job of taking away the deep look so far for Oklahoma Christian. That was their first slip up, and Oklahoma Christian's able to take advantage of it, but that is an excellent throw for Moore. Technically over to the break side, but throws it with enough outside in edge to where it curves right back into Henke's path. Great throw, great cut, easy goal.
So far, both offenses have just been going back and forth, and we really haven't seen either defense really step up and kind of take something away.
Yeah, just the one turnover from the Middlebury O-line, and they were able to get it back. So very clean game here in the early onset.
That pull will be ushered out of bounds.
We talked about Oklahoma Christian rotating through, bringing some of their O-line guys over to play D points. This time it's Jonathan Costello at the back of this bracketed look.
Now needing an option for Frankenberg. Inside there for Morris.
You hear the fire calls. I'm not sure if that was a result of the poll or if the plan was to always break out of the bracketed look that quickly, but great grab from Hanscom. It looks like we might have a travel on the throw. But the point I was making previously is we've seen Oklahoma Christian get burned by staying in that bracket for too long on the last few O points. They fell out of it after the first throw this time. Maybe a result of the short field from the pole. So we listen to the travel call.
Okay, so coming to the observer. Observer ruling is it is a travel. You round it out around the corner. Throw's coming back.
So wipe away that very highlight catch there from Hanscom getting up. This will go back.
Still a crucial catch. If he doesn't go up and get that, that's a turnover. So sure, it doesn't stay, but saves team possession there.
Back to Hanscom. And I believe a pick is called downfield.
Saying 3. Coming on 3.
On 3.
Hanscom fakes, goes around. Doing a good job downfield is OC.
Yeah, and great defense on the dump there from Kamari.
Up ahead to Frankenberg, now to Atkins. He's right there in front of the end line. Couple of give and goes. Now the around for the score, punching it in there is Coleman Bashore.
We get a new connection there, giving Frankenberg and Hanscom a break. Nice find from Atkins to Bashore.
4 apiece here in this championship game. Everything that you've wanted, a high-scoring game. Both teams just going back and forth in this one. It's been a stalemate so far, Mike.
Yeah, and the longer this continues where we just get hold after hold, the more pressure builds on these O-lines because the first break of this game is going to feel so much heavier the later on it gets before that break happens, you know. There's a sense of relief almost sometimes. This isn't going to make a ton of sense, so bear with me. But when you get broken early on, it's kind of like getting hit in the mouth early on in a fight where you feel it, right? You feel that contact. You start to taste your own blood a little bit, gets your adrenaline going. Whereas when both teams stay clean and perfect and are still kind of dancing around each other, you don't want to be the one that gets hit first. You're dancing around it and getting nervy on every single blow. So the pressure is going to keep mounting as these O-lines stay perfect. Let's see which one of them cracks first.
OC get another opportunity here on offense. Silva Fernandez to send the pull away.
Frankenberg is back out on this D point. We saw him on the last one, but Oklahoma Christian scored so quickly, his presence was irrelevant. Let's see if he's a little more involved this time.
Some nice pull there from Silvio Fernandez as he races down to stop the next throw.
First man down on his own pull. You love to see that.
And a little bit of a poach look there from the pranksters. Now working it down this near sideline. Looking for Hankey up the line.
Great straight cut.
Hankey thought about it around backhand and across the field.
This is a good mark from Drumheller.
Good switch there from the pranksters. Silvio Fernandez here on Hankey. That's a matchup we kind of looked at pregame.
That shimmy from Hankey to shift Silvio Fernandez's mark was really clean.
Hankey into Moore. Moore being really patient here and finding his man there in the end zone. Looks like that is Michael Peniagua there with the score.
Yeah, Peniagua now up to 3 goals and an assist early on. Like we said earlier, he's not too involved in the buildup, but he's got a nose for the end zone and finds those small spaces at the goal line, and he gets another one there from Moore. Good composed offense from Oklahoma Christian.
Making the score 5-4.
Another perfect hold. Still no turnovers from this Oklahoma Christian O-line, and they keep running that side stack look. Middlebury stays in a traditional matchup. I'd like to see Middlebury do something different, even if it's as simple as flipping the force, right? Force back into that stack. Make them run some sort of flood play or something instead of just gifting them the same force side over and over again.
And I mean, so far we've seen just both offenses not really rushed in this one. I just don't think this pace can continue, to be honest with you. Someone on the D line of either side has to step up.
As we see, Hankey is out here he's the O-line player crossing over for this D point for Oklahoma Christian. I expect we'll see the same bracket look again with Hankey as the deep, looking to bait a deep shot to try and go get a block on. We'll see what kind of look we get here from Oklahoma Christian on defense.
Hankey looks to send this one and pin pranksters back. Nice pull there, fielded by Bashore. Down the line here to Frankenberg. Up to Atkins.
Early fire call from OC, falling out of their bracket at midfield this time.
Frankenberg, a couple of fakes, needing some help.
Not sure what's called here, see if we can listen in.
Oh, you did contest. All right, what number do you think you're coming in on? Okay, so observer ruling, it was a fast count, so it's going to go back to 1. Coming on 1!
So a fast count was called there.
One of the benefits of having 4 observers in these later games in the tournament is we always have one close to the disc to be able to hear the stall, so nice quick resolution there.
Crossfield, Frankenberg to Atkins. A little bit of a hesitation there. Give and go across the middle, and just down the field, no options really here for the pranksters.
We've yet to see Middlebury really connect on a deep look. I think they're hesitant after that block from Moore earlier in the game, choosing to stay a little bit patient, but at some point they're going to have to stretch the field a little bit.
Across the field here to Atkins. Back to Frankenberg. And Atkins on his knees makes the catch.
Frankenberg is just in his element here.
A lot of two-man game as we approach the end zone. Laying out was Frankenberg, but he's going to have to step back out and field it in. And Hanscom once again with the score. And hold up, we're going to have discussion here to see if Frankenberg was fully out before giving the assist there on the score.
Okay, travel call is withdrawn. Disc is in the end zone to score.
And call will stand. It will be a score here for Middlebury. tying us up at 5.
And for the 4th time in this game, we see Frankenberg to Hanscom for the goal. That connection's got great chemistry so far, and once again, we see Middlebury more than comfortable to just work the disc patiently up the field, finding those small spaces and hitting Frankenberg on those strike cuts. And we still have a clean game, all tied up at 5s.
So, I mean, this is just a blistering pace so far in this game. Offensively speaking, both teams just going back and forth. You just wonder, Mike, who's going to break first? Who is going to make that really big mistake, to cause, a little separation here in this game?
Yeah, and the thing that's different about this game is that nobody's beating themselves, right? Even the one turnover that we saw from an O-line came on a huge bid from Moore on the deep shot. Most players aren't making that play. In, I would say, 99% of instances, that's a completion on that huck. A great defender like Moore is going to go out and get that disc. But it's been the one turnover from an O-line came from an impressive defensive play. I think that's what it's going to take. I don't think these teams are going to beat themselves in this game. I think someone's going to have to step up and make a big play on defense.
Another beautiful pull there from Sovo Fernandez. Hankey in the center. Maybe looking for Moore, and he will send a deep shot to Moore. Sovo Fernandez in the fray. Jumping up is Moore with the snag. What a highlight play by Moore, catching a body right in front of the end zone.
And that's Charlie Luckett who gets on the receiving end of that goal. But my goodness, what a grab from Elliot Moore. We've seen Silva Fernandez come down with that disc more times than not this weekend. He and Moore were jockeying for position. Both of them elevate, and Moore is able to come down with it. So we'll see it again here. What a grab from Moore.
Just excellent positioning and able to go up at the highest point there with the left.
And you saw some physicality. You see some physicality here. Both players jockeying for position, but both players using their bodies. No one's extending their arms, and that's the kind of physicality that should be allowed. Battling for position and still being able to elevate and come down with the disc. What a great grab from Moore. Really savvy there, getting position and going up and grabbing it as you see it from the drone view here. What a cool shot.
And that's got to be something that is bread and butter there for Hankey and Moore. As you pointed out earlier, teammates and on multiple teams. So they've got that connection going.
Yeah, and more than the connection, they have the trust, right? I don't think Moore was that open when Hankey let that go, but Hankey has seen his teammate make that play before and come down with that disc for him. He knows that he doesn't have to be perfect when he's throwing it to Moore, and vice versa. They know that they're going to have each other's backs and make plays for each other. And you see that there, but if you're Middlebury, you had your best defender with a chance in the air to go and get the disc for you. I think they probably live with that. I think they like Sovo Fernandez to come down with that disc next time.
Disc centered to Frankenberg. He's going to go crossfield.
Getting the fire call even before midfield this time.
So saw Morris was trying to make a deep cut, had to come under to get the disc back.
It's a great inside flick.
Frankenberg surveying. Now he's going to cut up the line, back to Frankenberg. Now trying to swing it back across the middle. Into Frankenberg. He's going to want this one every other. Hanscom, who's been a busy hand here today in the end zone. He gets the disc. They're poaching that lane and up ahead to Frankenberg for the score. They're going to switch things around. Hanscom getting the assist this time.
Yeah, and that was number 57, Sammy Roberts, who got caught face guarding there, trying to square up on Frankenberg and had his back to the Frisbee. And in these conditions, you just can't do that, especially on the flick sideline. That little blade is a quick throw that by the time Roberts would have heard an up call and turned around to try and find it, the disc was already in Frankenberg's hands. He had no chance there with his back turned to the play.
96 and 4 are having themselves a day. If you're playing Fantasy Ultimate here, those are two players you want on your team. They have been filling up the stat sheet.
Yeah, and they've been doing that all weekend. And we see a lot, it's widely preached in Ultimate when you get trapped on that four-side sideline to swing the disc around and open up the field a little bit. But we've seen Middlebury be comfortable operating in these small spaces. You see Frankenberg wiping off his elbow there after some bids, getting some turf pellets out of there. But Middlebury's comfortable in those small spaces. They don't force it. They wait for the look that they want. They're decisive and expect those throws from each other, and they're able to connect on it time and time again.
So 6 apiece here in this D3 Men's Championship Final.
Yeah, as we approach halftime, it'll be interesting to see if one of these teams can notch that break before the intermission.
Just another stellar pull there from Sovo Fernandez, and the first one down to stop the continuation as well.
Nice find to the break side there for Moore. Van Roosmalen.
Having trouble here on this mark. There's, a great break there, and now a jump disc. Hankey in the area, disc going up, and a great play to get back into it. Let's see if there's a call. There will be no call.
Van Roosmalen seemed determined to huck that disc. He never once looked at his reset, and you can't blame him trying to find Hankey in the deep space, but that one wasn't necessarily open. Would have liked to see him just turn and find a reset there.
Great play by Drumheller, and then you see a D back the other way there by Jonathan Costello.
Yeah, not sure if he actually got the block or just pressured that into a drop, but regardless, really tight defense there, putting himself in a good position to get the disc back for the Eagles.
Now into Hankey. Hankey surveying, trying to find more, free him up. Good pressure here by Sovo Fernandez. And a hammer, crossfield looping. Who wants it? And just out of the reach there in the back corner.
And here we go from a clean half up until now to seeing things loosen up a little bit. That's a low stall hammer from Hankey. No reason for that throw. Getting a little too complacent there, and now we'll see if Middlebury can make something of it. I would like to see them take a timeout here and make this count.
So they have some kind of set play, need some cuts down the field. More smelling that end zone, wanting that Callahan. Up ahead to Sovo Fernandez, and I believe they're going to call it travel.
Stop it.
OC's O-line is playing really poachy defense here, bracketing in the four-side lane. I think that if the Pranksters are going to open anything up here, they're going to have to find a way to work it over to the high side of the field, get it to the break side.
So Fernandez needing help. A nice upline strike and an immediate deep shot up in the air. There's 2 Middlebury players there. Who will come down with it? It's Hankey skying up for the D.
That's exactly what Hankey wanted there. He was baiting that. He was daring them to try and throw that, and it worked out exactly as you might expect with Hankey skying the pile to come down with that block.
Great ups there by Hankey to get that one back for his team. Oh, some slippage there. Was Costello. Back to Hankey. And Hankey will call a timeout. Maybe a little gas. We want to talk some strategy here, a crucial point.
Hankey hitting his knees there. This is probably the hardest that they've had to work so far to get a hold in this game. In this game for sure, and maybe all weekend, but we'll see what they come out of this timeout with and see if they can draw something up to right the ship and get the easy hold.
So now, defensively speaking, Mike, what can Middlebury kind of change up or maybe throw at OC to perhaps get a break here?
Well, I like their approach on this point where they're just forcing the downfield cutters away and making OC be perfect on their deep shots, right? These are ideal conditions for the deep look, but even still, that 50-yard throw is more difficult than the 5 or 10-yarder. So just forcing Oklahoma Christian into making multiple lower percentage throws, and it's hard as a defender to just give up the deep space, right? Nobody likes to get scored on deep, so it's a mental hurdle to have to overcome, but understanding that that's going to be your best chance at an imperfect throw to come down with a block and having the confidence and self-belief to not worry about 1 or 2 of them working out, but knowing that that 3rd one or that 4th one or that 5th one is going to be your chance at a block, continuing to have that faith and continuing to pressure up front to make those throws difficult from the handler space.
See, looking to set up their marks. Hankey will be on the disc. So kind of set play Hankey around. Far sideline.
You see where Drumheller's set up here. It's giving up that free reset to Hankey. I'd like to see him push him downfield.
Now across the field. Having trouble, there's Peniagua. Peniagua there to Hankey, up line. Just nothing downfield. Into Moore.
I think at this point, though, well, as we see the hammer go up.
Crossfield hammer for the score. That is Evan Card punching it in there for the Eagles.
If you're OC, you love to see that hold coming out of a timeout. We've seen too many times this weekend across the tournament, timeouts get called and teams come out and turn it over early, and instead OC used that timeout effectively to calm down their O-line, steady the ship a little bit, and they come out and a few throws later get the hold. Nice hammer there for Moore to Card.
You saw Moore kind of point in that corner direction. That was an early stall hammer. Kind of knew and trusted his teammate Card to run the right route into that corner and just put it on a platter for him.
But still, if you're Middlebury, you got to be encouraged, right? You've learned that, to quote Rocky, he's a man, he bleeds, right? OC bleeds, their O-line turns it over, right? You're going to have chances in this game. You got to keep the pressure up, you got to earn them, but if you stay after it, they are going to come, and then once you get those chances, just got to be a little more patient to convert them.
And that's a great point. There have been very few mistakes here in this game, offensively speaking. So when that defense gets that first turn, they've really got to capitalize.
I understand Middlebury using their timeout here because they have the timeouts, right? You get two per half. They hadn't used one yet. You can't take them with you, so go ahead and use it. Honestly, though, we talked about this at the Ultiworld House a little bit last night, where timeouts are twofold, right? You have to think about what the timeout's going to do for you, but also think what the timeout's going to do for your opponent and how that timeout might help your opponent. In this case, Oklahoma Christian's O-line is coming off a multiple turnover point, and they're exhausted and probably unable to cross over many of those players for a D point if you just roll them right back out there. However, by calling a timeout, you give them time to rest and recharge, and now up 7-6 with the opportunity to break for half, Oklahoma Christian is putting out the strongest D-line we've seen from them thus far. They're crossing over Hankey, Moore, Peniagua, Costello, right? They're bringing in their top guns because that timeout just let them rest. So while I understand what Middlebury was thinking and calling that timeout, really all they've done is enable Oklahoma Christian to load up a D-line here, and we'll see if that ends up coming back to haunt them.
That's a good point. You see Middlebury asking Mike to give him a wave up here in the booth, but maybe they just wanted to get the vibes right. That timeout was just a way to amp up their O-line.
Yeah, they're a fun team. They're a good group of guys, and always enjoy covering them. They play the game the right way. They have fun doing it, and they make it fun for the people watching them. So always appreciate the love from those guys.
See disc here on the far sideline. Back to Frankenberg in the middle. This one floating up. He's going to have to go get it.
Yeah, and while OC is stacking up this D-line, we're seeing the same O-line from Middlebury keeping faith in their players, not crossing over guys like Sovil Fernandez, trusting their regular O-line to get the job done.
Frankenberg across to Hanscom. Hanscom now with the disc. Tries a scuba fake. And some contact there. Let's hope Peniagua is all right. Maybe got caught with a little bit of an elbow.
It is a foul. Saying six.
A little bit of an offensive foul there on the pivot. They're jammed up here. This is the situation OC's defense wants.
Scuba cross field into Frankenberg. And a great D there on the other end. And a good job reading that disc there by Sam Roberts.
A little surprised to not see a strip call there. It looked a little strippish to me. Obviously, the players know best. And now OC has a chance for a break with their studs out on the field. Oh, and we see the miscommunication as Sammy Roberts gives it right back.
Now Frankenberg looking for an isolation there with Hanscom. And a timeout. Heads up play there by Frankenberg to call that timeout around the goal line.
I'm a much bigger fan of that timeout call. He tried to pick it up quickly and see if he could get the easy goal to Hanscom. When that didn't work out, it was chaos all around him. Smart move, calling the timeout, making sure you get this hold here. But man, what a mistake from Sammy Roberts. They had the perfect chance with their ideal line out there on the field to convert a break, and maybe that's the sign of a lack of chemistry there with, you know, a lot of the OCO line not crossing over much this weekend. Guy like Roberts, who's been playing only on the D-line, not having the kind of chemistry to know what Hankey was looking for on that reset.
Yeah, this is a tough look overall. Not only do you turn the disc, but you send it backwards right to your own goal line. You know, you're basically running an end zone set right now if you're Middlebury. And I would not be surprised, Mike, if they try to isolate Hanscom with Frankenberg picking up the disc.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be probably Hankey matching up on Hanscom there. If I had to guess, I bet would see Peterson on Frankenberg. He's been taking top handler matchups all weekend for OC, but with more on the field, you might see him get involved. And surprisingly, we see Hanscom set up at the back of the stack here with Atkins as the primary reset. More guarding the primary reset here. His handler defense is excellent.
Looks like they are even going to poach in that lane as well, almost like a bracket at the front.
Yeah, double teams aren't legal, but Hankey's patrolling that front space, functioning pretty much as if a double team, closest thing you could get to it.
Frankenberg there on the end line, needing some help cross field.
That's such a sweet throw.
And snagged out of the air. Back around here to Frankenberg. He has an insane motor here for this Pranksters team, just been moving all over the field. Now catches it up line there for the score, and a much needed hold for the Pranksters of Middlebury.
That was actually really excellent goal line defense from Oklahoma Christian. They were really mucking things up there for a while, but Frankenberg stays patient. Middlebury with really nice lateral movement. They get the hold, and now we've got 7-7. Next point's going to dictate who takes half.
So far, if you're just tuning in, 7-7 is the score, but I mean, what a D3 men's final here, and this was to show you a replay. Frankenberg just no quit, high motor player, wanting that disc back and getting it.
Yeah, obviously Frankenberg's got all the physical tools, right? He's very fast, he's bouncy. You know, he's got those athletic gifts to be good. But the thing I like most about watching him is how decisive he is with his movements. There is no dancing, there's no wasted energy. He decides what cut he's going to make, and then he makes it with conviction and makes it at 100%, right? It makes it easier on his thrower. They never have to guess what he's going to do. And it allows them to just throw with conviction to him because they don't have to worry about him stopping and changing directions, like maybe that turnover from Roberts to Hankey, right? Every time Frankenberg cuts, he cuts with conviction, makes it easy on his thrower, and more often than not, he's coming down with it.
See Middlebury amping up their D-line now. See Frankenberg will cross over here on the D-line as well. Several O-line players crossing over there for Middlebury. This point very crucial. Let's see who will take us into the half and go up.
Hankey goes deep early. Nice help defense downfield to stop that play.
I believe Hanscom reared back to go help. Hankey here with the disc. Needs an outlet. Back to Moore in the center. Moore turning around. A disc put up into space for Hankey.
That's that chemistry. That's a trust throw right there.
He's able to read it. Now Moore up and down the sideline. Good D here from Solo Fernandez. A great crossfield shot. Frankenberg kind of in no man's land on the poach.
Yeah, he's being aggressive right now, trying to get a block.
There's Costello working it up the field with Card. Two-man game. Now the around back to Moore. Costello just grinding gears. Now the crossfield shot laying out. Will not be there in time. Hankey the score. 8-7 OC.
Yeah, a bit of a desperation bid there from Drumheller. I don't think he had much of a chance at getting that block. And Hankey with the clap catch goal. That's that crossfield blade we've seen a few times without any wind to mess up those throws. That option's always going to be there. They had to work for it. They had to grind a good bit, but at the end of it, it's another smooth hold for Oklahoma Christian. Ending a half where we only saw a total of 3 turnovers combined from the 2 O-lines. One of the cleaner halves of Ultimate that I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is just phenomenal work. Very similar to that Georgia-Texas game we saw yesterday in that first half, where not many turns, just offense, just clinically working down the field. You see that replay, the drone look.
Really cool angle there from the drone. You see just how quickly Moore was able to zip that disc across the field. Just no hang time on it, puts it into his receiver's stomach. And Oklahoma Christian takes half, 8-7, keeping this game on serve.
This game is on serve, 8-7. Anything that you want to see for the second half coming up?
Yeah, I expect to see both teams make some adjustments on defense, right? I'd be shocked if we came out in the second half and didn't see some sort of different look. We really haven't seen any variation. We haven't seen teams flip the force or throw a zone. It's been the same thing every time with Oklahoma Christian running that bracket look to mess up any Middlebury pull plays. And it's been Middlebury just playing that force flick, matchup defense. Not really seeing anything different, and I'd be shocked if we came out of halftime without seeing some adjustments made.
Let's take a look here at some of the first half highlights. That Moore to Hankey connection has been money here today. Middlebury just working it down the field. And we'll be back here with more action here in this D3 men's final. OC up 8-7 here with the Middlebury Pranksters.
What would it look like if a competitive sport didn't mean a choice? Between beauty and brutality, style and steel. Between calling yourself out and clawing to stay in. What if there was a game that found balance? Between spirit and sport, agony and elation. Like a disc dancing on air.
We now have evolved into a team sport of a game called Ultimate.
It stands by itself in that it is like no other game.
Between perfect passes and devastating drops. Like the balance we so desperately needed, we had no choice but to create it ourselves. Long live grit and grace. Long live Ultimate.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change.
Around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young.
And still a perfect circle.
Of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network.
Before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias.
And understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we
pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
Ultiworld's live streaming coverage of the 2021 College Championships is presented in part by AGW Ultimate. You can find them at agwultimate.com, and they want to remind you, just say no to Big Ultimate.
Welcome back here to the 2021 College Championships here in Norco, California. If you're just tuning in, Oklahoma Christian is up 8-7 here of the Middlebury Pranksters here in the D3 men's final. And we're going to send it down to Scotty Dempsey there here with Oklahoma Christian's head coach Garrett Taylor.
All right. After a very exciting first half, I'm here with Coach Garrett Taylor of Oklahoma Christian. Your offense has looked clean. What is it going to take to generate a defensive block that will probably make the difference in this game?
We got to keep putting them in tough spots. They've got a couple of throws that went off that they made some good plays on. I think if we keep putting them in difficult spots, that's going to help us out. Also, we don't need it. We just hold. We'll be in a good spot.
All right, I'm looking forward to watching it. From this first half, Michael Paniagua has certainly had a breakout game, generating the majority of the goals and assists that we've seen in the 8 points that you've scored. What do you have to say about his performance and his overall ability this Nationals?
He's playing well. He's an old man, wise beyond his years and his height. He's playing well. Him and Kyle, they've got that connection. They've been playing a long time together. They look good out there.
All right, I'm looking forward to watching it. That's all we've got from the sideline report here at halftime for the Oklahoma Christian Middlebury finals. Good luck in the next half.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Scotty. Some great insight there from Coach Garrett Taylor. Mike, what are your thoughts about what he said and what kind of adjustments are going to be made here in the second half?
You know, the most telling thing to me there was his answer about, at the end of the day, anything they need to do on defense, they actually don't need to do, quote unquote, right? As long as they keep holding out, they won the flip, they started on offense. The pressure's on Middlebury to find the break at some point, and as we can see here, Middlebury clearly feeling the pressure, looking really, really tight and tense here at halftime.
Yeah, just a bundle of knots, that Middlebury team there. As you see, a huge dance circle. We're going to show you some highlights from the 2019 D3 College Championships. Very fond of these highlights.
Yeah, we'll be right back after these highlights.
That one is pulled down.
Josie Gillette, inside forehand to Warder, he goes up and gets it.
Away with the blade and a great one-handed catch.
Caught by Chang.
Great layout block from Samuel. Alan Villanueva climbing the ladder and then jumping off the ladder. Now it pops in the air and a great grab. looking to break to take half. Goski to the end zone and the layout catch.
Baby shark, baby shark. That's a breaking news.
Welcome back to Ulti World's live coverage of the 2019 D3 College Championships. From the center of the sun, College Station, Texas.
Abby Chang going for it all.
Absolutely just ripped it.
Unmarked. And she puts up a beautiful shot.
And welcome back here to the 2021 College Championships. See Hankey there on the pole. OC Eagles up 8-7 here over the Middlebury Pranksters. Middlebury trying to keep the blistering paces. Both teams offensively have just been surgical here today. Nothing really separating either team here defensively.
Yeah, it's the finest of margins so far. We've only seen 3 turnovers total from the 2 O-lines. Break chances are coming at a premium, and when they arise in the second half, both D-lines are going to be looking to try and capitalize. So we see a nice inside flick there from Frankenberg.
Atkins, some 2-man game, some good help, and Hanscom by his lonesome for a little bit. Would have loved to see them exploit that as Hankey poached underneath.
Yeah, this isn't hyperbole. We literally have not seen the Middlebury O-line huck the disc in this game. They are content to just keep grinding it out with strike cuts and unders, and I think they know that Oklahoma Christian wants them to throw it deep. I think a lot of OC defenders are baiting it, as I think we see a pick call here. And Middlebury, to their credit, aren't falling into that ploy and are staying patient and doing what they want to do on offense instead of what the defense wants them to do.
That's a good point. Just dictating the space and, playing your
game. Here, Skulls at 1.
See the audio there from the observer. The call will stay here at 1. But just dictating the space and not allowing the other team to force you to play another way. Play your game. You see Frankenberg back in the middle. Across here in Hanscom. Give and goes. Now cross stack this one up in the air, and I felt like
20 seconds.
Bashore had a lot more time than he realized. I think he felt like he was running out of room down that sideline.
Yeah, Hanscom just putting it a little too far out, and now Hankey walking to pick up the disc, and Oklahoma Christian with another chance at a break, and he's getting pre-stalled. Not sure he realizes it.
1. You missed him.
There we go.
Hankey with the disc on the goal line. Sends it across the middle. Trying to work the disc around. Back to Hankey. Inside. There for Kamari. Kamari, excuse me.
That is such a good throw from Kamari.
Hankey. Kamari once again. Nothing down the field, but Hankey going to get the upline cut and snare it down and pick up a couple more yards as well. And Hankey immediately going to send a big OI Blady flick up in the air, and that one just misread. But I believe a foul will be called, or pick.
Yeah, no, I think the Middlebury defender's calling a violation because of the travel. I'm not sure that Middlebury realizes in the new edition rules, travels are a live call. Hankey established his pivot, tapped it in, and was able to play. It was a live disc, and I think the observers will probably uphold this goal. We wait to see what the determination is.
It's a long discussion. You hear Middlebury side.
I will gladly listen to you.
Sing the Jeopardy, hum the Jeopardy theme song. And that's going to be a score there for OC. A little anticlimactic, but I mean, you would have loved to see that last back Middlebury player at least attempt to get back to that disc. That disc was floating for a while, could have made a play there.
Yeah, I think it was literally just they didn't know that the disc was live. You know, we talked about this is the first Nationals being played under the new 12th edition rules that were enacted in 2020, and as part of those new rules, travel calls are a live disc. The violator just has to move back to where the travel occurred and tap the disc in, set their pivot foot and tap the disc in, and that disc is live. Everybody downfield stopped except Oklahoma Christian, and Hankey was able to take advantage of it, boosting the disc quickly, and just like that, we have our first break of the game on the first point out of half.
Yeah, just a crucial point there for OC just to win that back. I mean, and add some cushion to their lead.
Yeah, and the mountain to climb just got even taller for Middlebury. It was going to be a difficult task to get the one break that they needed. Now they're going to need two without relinquishing any more to Oklahoma Christian, and you have to think the Eagles are feeling pretty confident at this point.
Yeah, and you made an excellent point there on offense. They have just been so patient here today, and they're not looking really for anything down the field. They haven't, I don't think, fired one deep puck yet this game, Middlebury, and so, I mean, they're comfortable just methodically working their way down the field yard by yard, pass by pass. You see Frankenberg immediately initiating, getting the first cut.
I like the move of starting him downfield. You see he's already fallen back into the handler space, but go ahead and let him get some momentum and maybe get a different matchup by starting downfield against that bracket instead of in the handler space.
So Landrigan now with the disc, trying to get Frankenberg active. And they're almost just shading deep, begging Middlebury to send it deep. And a nice around. See a pick called there. Frankenberg still with the disc.
This is a big hold here for Middlebury. They can't let this turn into a run for OC. They got to find a way to stabilize, get their defense out there, and get some momentum going out of this second half.
Morris around to Frankenberg, down the line for a Hanscom, tiptoeing the sideline, and he'll score there for the Pranksters.
That's a big, big hold for Middlebury. They could have let this game slip away from them, giving up a second break in a row. Instead, they stay patient, they work it, and I think that's probably the furthest throw we've seen them throw for a goal in this game. It was just a 20-yarder up the break side, but that same old connection of Frankenberg hitting Hanscom, tale as old as time.
Yeah, that's the combination that got you here, and it's going to be the combination that's probably going to help you get up in this game and perhaps win, you know, a national championship here. You see the replay, Hanscom down the line, dragging his feet right on that sideline and staying in bounds.
And now we see the urgency of Middlebury. They don't want to stretch this on too long and wait too long to try and get their break back. They've immediately crossed Frankenberg over to the D point here, and they want to make sure that if they do manage to get the disc from this OC offense, they have their biggest weapons out there on the field to try and capitalize on it.
So let's see now if Middlebury can match that intensity here on defense and perhaps get a break to tie this game up.
We see the usual suspects on the field for the Oklahoma Christian offense, and we heard Coach Taylor say it at halftime. They can just hold out and win this game. They did give themselves a little bit of a cushion with that break, but their O-lines looked pretty invincible so far. We'll see if Middlebury can land some blows as we see Silva Fernandez switching. He'd been taking the Elliott Moore matchup in the first half, now taking the Kyle Hankey matchup.
Looks like Frankenberg will be on Elliott Moore. Now Hankey sends one down the line for Moore. Two Middlebury players in the way and able to swat it down, but on the tip drill, what an effort there, and just heads up heady play by Van Roosmalen.
Yeah, really, really nice from Van Roosmalen to follow the play and stay engaged there, not just wait for his teammate Elliott Moore to make the grab. Really strong defense there from Middlebury, having their heads up, doing some gang defending there, really getting in and getting involved with multiple defenders. But, you know, the phrase catch your D's is thrown around a lot in Ultimate, and while it's not always true, it certainly would have been nice to have that case there as they end up tipping the disc right into the hands of the awaiting Van Roosmalen. He cleans up the trash, and Oklahoma Christian get their first hold of the second half.
And it even seemed like those two Middlebury players, Drumheller there, and Dahl could have easily talked to each other a little bit and caught that disc. It seemed like they kind of got in each other's way there on the D. Maybe caused some confusion, and then just a tip drill, simple tip drill.
Yeah, it's hard to communicate like that in the speed of play and everything, but, you know, it's so tough when it's almost like they had no defenders on it, right? They had 2 defenders on it, and it turned out to be the same impact as no defenders on it. That's gut-wrenching. You saw Drumheller kind of hit his knees afterwards. I think they know they're not going to get too many more chances like that to get the turnover that they need and have a break opportunity. That's one they definitely let slip through their fingers.
So back up 2 now are the OC Eagles. So an opportunity now to get one back for Middlebury. That pull, will it come back inbounds? Yes, it will.
We see Frankenberg start downfield again. See if he can get a different kind of matchup on him after this bracket.
You see 2 pranksters make the same cut in. Working it down the sideline, back to Frankenberg now. Frankenberg the around. There for Bashorn now to Hanscom. Hanscom up the line there to Frankenberg. Landrigan down the sideline. Punching it in is Bashor.
That's got to get some confidence going for the Middlebury O-line. Nice and easy there. Not really any contested throws on that point. They got everything that they wanted. And something important to note, we've talked about throughout this game that OC has brought over one of their O-line guys for each D-point. They brought none of them over on that D-point. That was a true D-line. I think they know at this point that they can just kind of coast out with holds and get this win. Middlebury's got to come up with some breaks here.
Yeah, it needs to be something, and something now for Middlebury defensively speaking. They have really got to get up here in this one in order to tie us up. You see just comfortable working it down that far sideline. Just no one really stopping those, upline strikes and to the force side.
As we see Frankenberg staying out here for a D-point. The format of this tournament lends itself to teams being able to play their stars. Both these teams played 3 games on Friday, but since then they have played 1 game per day. So their legs have to be pretty fresh. At some point, the playing time might catch up to him, but Frankenberg's in shape. He's used to playing a lot, and he's out here so that if they get this turn, he can be out there to engineer the much-needed break.
So in there to Moore, center to Hankey. And thought about going deep to Costello, an immediate deep cut. Now Moore will send it up to Costello. And some contact there, and macking it to himself right at the front of the end zone is Costello. And there is the score there for OC in the hands of Evan Card.
And Costello is fired up. I mean, he made that grab through a tremendous amount of contact. Moore put that disc on a rope out in front of him, and the Middlebury defender did his best to try and get a block there, and he did force the first drop from Costello, but it dropped it right up into the air, and Costello stays engaged. Second effort, he comes down with it, flips it into Card, and that puts OC just 4 more goals away from winning their first national championship.
Just a beautiful deep shot down the line by Moore, and I think just the great focus and concentration by Costello to stay with that disc after not getting the catch initially. I think that's the difference maker. That's why the score is up 2 here for OC.
And that throw from Moore wasn't perfect, but he missed to the right place. He put it on a line to the outside shoulder where the Middlebury defender didn't really have much of a chance to make the play. It was always going to be a tough catch for Costello, but it was never going to be a viable block for Middlebury. And you have to have that trust in your receiver sometimes, and Costello stays engaged and comes down with it. And now as we get a look here, the Middlebury O-line, same suspects that we've been seeing, and Oklahoma Christian once again on D, not crossing over any of their O-line. This is a pure D-line for Oklahoma Christian. I think they know at this point that they can just outlast Middlebury and get the holds that they need to coast to a win.
Again, the disc this time in Frankenberg's hands. Inside to Atkins through the middle. And does it look like a zone look there from OC. They immediately get out of it.
Yeah, instead of the bracket, that was an honest zone. They did fall out of it just as quickly, but it was an honest zone.
Atkins free. Now up ahead, down the line to Frankenberg. Nice give and go with Landrigan. Now big around to Hanscom, and that has been the connection that has been absolute money here today. I mean, what else can you say about this duo, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, they are on it. They are dialed in. They know what each other are looking for. And, you know, Frankenberg is just so patient. He waits for the throw that he wants to make. He doesn't let the defense dictate what throw he's going to make. And Hanscom, I think, knows what he's looking for. He seems to always find the right spaces, make the right cut. You see Frankenberg there, gets the disc back, excuse me. And as soon as he turns, he looks, sees Hanscom, and just put it out to space. Let him run under it. And that point was really opened up. Frankenberg's defender slipped at one point, and it was just off to the races. Frankenberg chewed up probably 45 yards in a matter of 3 throws as his defender was just never in position, and he's able to find Hanscom on the break side. But the holds are necessary, but if they're going to come out of this with a win, they've got to get breaks.
Yeah, what do you think is going to take Middlebury to this next gear, that next level to kind of get themselves in this game?
They still aren't really making any adjustments, not even flipping the force. I mean, they are forcing flick, playing matchup defense this entire game. It's not working, but they're still staying with it. They just got to try something different. Throw a different look. Make Oklahoma Christian beat you a different way. Quit letting them just do the same thing over and over and over again. Interesting to note there, Drumheller was the one pulling that disc for the first time. It allows Sobel Fernandez to get down faster on the pole, and he's got the Hankey matchup here.
Drumheller racing towards the disc, not able to get that D around. Now Hankey holstering, sends a left-handed backhand through the middle.
That's such a good throw.
Moore to Card. Card being guarded by Hanscom. Laying out, but not able to get the bid. A hammer cross field to Hankey in space. You see Sobel Fernandez there on Hankey. Now up the line for Moore. Moore thought about the inside throw. Now the around into space to Card for the score.
Good pressure there from the Middlebury handler defenders for several difficult throws, but it's just not enough. And you see the Oklahoma Christian celebration here. They get down and they start rowing together. You see the chemistry there as Hankey serves as coxswain to direct the rowing, and they're having fun. They know they are a mere 3 points away from getting their first national championship. As you see, just a really nice lefty out into space for Hankey there to Moore.
Just great patience, waiting until that right open cut got there and able to find the space.
And he's not someone that we really had tabbed as a major contributor to watch coming into this game, but that's Evan Card's 4th goal. He's doing a really nice job of playing his role and flowing off of Oklahoma Christian star players and finding his spaces and moments to attack, particularly in the end zone.
Here it is, 4 goals, 0 assists for Evan Card. Evan Card, you know, just only buckets, straight buckets for Card.
All right, Middlebury got to get a nice quick hold here and give their defense another chance to get back out and get the breaks that they need, but it's got to start with another hold.
Yeah, they've got to get it going here offensively. They've got to get this hold. And then defensively, like you said, there's just been nothing that's really changed for them. They're still playing the same marks, same forces. Nothing really thrown at Oklahoma Christian to make them sweat or be nervous.
And what's the saying? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. They got to just change it up at some point. It's not working right now, and they got to find something different. But let's see if they can get the hold first.
Into Landrigan now. Thought about going up the line to Frankenberg. It's a dangerous pass across the middle. Atkins trying to clear. Big around. Hanscom able to secure it.
I think this is the longest we've seen Frankenberg go without getting on the disc. He's kind of chilling in the middle of the stack downfield right now.
An inside throw, and I believe a pick was called.
Yeah, Frankenberg's not happy with it, but I actually think that's the right call. He made his cut pretty vertical. He didn't get out from the stack first to create that space. Just cutting straight downfield, and I do think that's a viable pick call.
So disc will go back. Kopowitz here with the disc. Kopowitz with the around. There's Landrigan. Down to Atkins. Now down the line for Frankenberg, and that one turfed into the ground. The right idea, just not 100% the right execution.
Yeah, and we identified that was the longest Frankenberg's gone without touching the disc on this O-line, and you know, he's made the throws pretty easy for his teammates, but asking a lot of Atkins to hit that away shot up the line there, and Atkins is unable to do it. And let's see if this OCD line can convert another break.
And this looks like a true D line here for OC. No Hankey, no Costello or more.
Yeah, expect Sammy Roberts here with the disc, the freshman, to really engineer this. He's calling for a deep shot right now. Settles for the up line to Kamari.
Now up the line, Frankenberg playing tight here on Roberts. And a timeout will be called here by OC. You know, they're up 2. This could be a complete difference maker. They score here. They're up 3.
I like this timeout call. They had some flow going in the handler space, but were disconnected from their cutters downfield. And this would be a back-breaking break here. If they can punch this in, that would make it 13-10 with Middlebury needing to break 3 times when they've only had 2 break opportunities all game. You got to think a break here would all but seal this for Oklahoma Christian.
Yes, they're looking to draw up a play here probably about 30 yards out from the end zone.
And, you know, I expect them to dial up some sort of aggressive look here for Sammy Roberts. They've got the disc with the right person. He has been kind of the anchor of their D-line all weekend, and he turned 18 just a week ago. He's a freshman and a very young freshman at that, but they are very excited about his potential and his future with this program, and they think that he'll be a cornerstone for them for years to come. And he's got an opportunity here on the biggest stage to prove it. You know, he had the unlucky turnover earlier in the game on the miscommunication with Hankey, and he's got a shot at redemption here. If this Oklahoma Christian D-line is going to punch in this break, you got to think he's going to be largely involved.
And I'm looking for Middlebury to kind of implement some kind of poach here in the lane and force Roberts to throw something he may not want to throw.
Yeah, Emmanuel Kamari at the front of the stack has been a release valve of sorts all weekend, and as you see here, he goes getting the strike cut.
Now up the line, coming in for the poach, but it won't matter as Sammy Roberts gets the score, and he is amped up. That's a break, 13-10 OC.
Yeah, and OC are fired up. I think they know what that break means. I think they know how important that was, and what a cool moment for them in a game that's been largely dominated by their O-line, and has even when they got their break was because they had O-line players crossed over in Hankey. But for the potentially decisive goal of the game and decisive break of the game to be one that is marched in by 2 players that might not get the shine that they deserve in Kamari and Roberts. What a cool moment for them. Big play, big break, and now Middlebury's got their back up against the ropes.
Got their back up against the ropes is a good point. They really have a hill to climb. They need to do something right now, and it starts with getting a hold here offensively.
And we've talked about how the difference in how these 2 teams show their energy is Middlebury is a little more raucous and loud and external, whereas OC is a little more internalized and focused on themselves. But the OC sideline here is as loud as it's ever been. I think they can smell their first championship. They know it is about to be within their grasp.
Let's see. Looks like Kamari is going to send this one.
as expected, another pure D line from Oklahoma Christian. None of their O-line players are crossing over here, and let's see if Middlebury can steady things here and give themselves a chance at getting back into this game.
Frankenberg here in the middle. Now working down the far sideline. Hanscom had his defender slip multiple times and still has yet to get the disc. And a turn.
Just moving a little too quickly there is number 33, Ben Morris, trying to get the disc back to Frankenberg. And you identified it. Hanscom had multiple opportunities to get hit deep, and none of the Middlebury throwers confident enough to hit him. And now Oklahoma Christian, as number 20, boosts the disc up to Kamari. It's going into a crowd. Let's see who reads it, and it is Morris getting the disc back, atoning for his mistake.
That was great presence of mind to send 2 or 3 pranksters back to rear back for that one. Now Frankenberg, a deep look here for Hanscom. He just does not have the kind of wheels to get underneath that throw.
Yeah, Frankenberg maybe realizing how Hanscom got looked off a couple of times on the previous possession and wanting to make sure to reward his favorite target that time, forcing it. That's the first huck we've seen Frankenberg throw today. He just boosted a little too far, and now it's going to be David Peterson picking it up for Oklahoma Christian with a chance for yet another break.
See Solo Fernandez immediately in the lane to poach.
And that's Javen Smith with the disc to Kamari.
Atkins on the mark. And a turnover right on the end line. This could be a huge opportunity here for Middlebury.
I think we might see Frankenberg to Hanscom again here.
That possibly would be the connection. And I believe a pick was called.
Looks like we have a pick called.
So trying to reorganize, and I'm going to watch Hanscom try to shake Lewis here in this cut. Nice around, back to Frankenberg again. Up the line, now Frankenberg by his lonesome. And in there for the score. Pranksters battling back here in this one.
Yeah, and Ben Morris was fired up there. I think he realizes just how big that was and probably saw his tournament flash before his eyes after that turnover, but he gets the disc back, comes down for the book hold as he manages to catch the goal as well. He's motioning to the crowd. He's trying to get them fired up, and it's now or never for Middlebury. They know that their season is on the line here, and they're going to need a break here to keep their chances alive.
Yeah, they're going to need more antics from this sideline. They've got to get up and amped in order to get back in this game. You see the turnover there from this last point. Patient work from Middlebury, finding Morris there in the end zone. And an emphatic spike trying to amp up his team.
And the Middlebury crowd is getting fired up. They are trying to give their pranksters the energy that they need to get the break here.
It's a good crowd on hand for this D3 men's final. A lot of supporters. A couple of teams have stayed here to watch the final as well. Good sportsmanship and just camaraderie all across D3.
Yeah, this is really cool to see for the division. I mean, the bleachers on the far side are almost entirely full, and we've got a great crowd here. It's been a great game. It's been a close, exciting game, and we'll see if we get a finish that is fitting of such a fun game that we've had here today.
Nice pull there from Sobel Fernandez. And to Hankey. Now Moore immediately going to go deep. Frankenberg is there. This one pumped in the middle, looking for a reset. Almost getting the foot block there was Drumheller. Now Moore shoots immediately to Hankey. Now Sobel Fernandez can't come up with it. Hankey with the snare. And then the score to Costello. Game point now for OC, one away from a natty.
Hankey with the big grab there. Sobel Fernandez inches away from getting the crucial block, but it just wasn't meant to be as Hankey manages to elevate and come down with the disc. You see the celly that we've seen a couple of times from him as he hugs his teammate. I think they know that they are right there with one goal to go for their first ever national championship.
Right away, I mean, they're going to have to want to get it here on defense. You see that just beautiful grab by Hankey with the left hand over Sobel Fernandez, and he's very close to getting this one. maybe just a little too far out of reach.
Well, and that's tough with the disc bending over his head. He has to really turn, look over both shoulders to try and find it, then running full speed to then trying to elevate after that. It's a tough ask, especially against an elite receiver like Hankey. Silva Fernandez, we've seen him all weekend make that play and make those blocks, but he hasn't been trying to make them on a player quite of the caliber of Kyle Hankey, and Hankey able to come down with it there.
So looks like the usual D-line will be out there for OC. 1 point away from capturing their first D3 national championship here in program history. And not if the Pranksters of Middlebury have anything to say about it here on offense.
See Frankenberg starting downfield again.
Hanscom gonna shoot deep. Frankenberg sends it deep to Hanscom, and he's gonna be by his lonesome there for the score. I think he was worried about the back of the end zone. Did a little bunny hop, but secured it with 2 hands. Just a 2-point lead now for OC.
Yeah, that's the same connection we've been seeing for the Middlebury offense, but we're seeing it in a little bit of a different way, as that is the first completed huck for the Pranksters in this game. Great throw from Frankenberg out to space, and great cut from Hanscom. Created an incredible amount of separation here from his matchup, and even with this little misread bunny hop, he's able to come down with the easy catch for the hold. And now it is quite literally do or die for the Middlebury defense. They need not 1, not 2, but 3 breaks in a row against an Oklahoma Christian O-line that has only turned the disc over twice all game. It's a tall task. We'll see if the Pranksters are up to it.
A tall hill to climb here for the Pranksters. But right now, OC looking to end this one and punch it in. Let's see who's going to break first here in this vague, decisive game point here for the Eagles.
I'd be surprised if Oklahoma Christian didn't set up a play here to end it quickly potentially, and I'm sure Hankey and Moore will be prominently involved. We've seen the connection go both directions, with Moore hucking to Hankey and Hankey hucking to Moore. We'll see what it looks like here.
Silva Fernandez to pull once again here for the Pranksters. So it's deep into the end zone, and Frankenberg turning on the Jets to stop Moore, and some giving goes now with Hankey and Moore. See the sense of urgency now from Middlebury, but is it too little too late? See a man poached deep to help on the deep space. Hanscom on the mark.
A little too much poaching here for Middlebury, and they're just leaving Oklahoma Christian receivers unmarked. They need to lock in here if they're going to get the blocks. We see Costello catching up line.
He's on the doorstep is Costello. And 1 point away, trying to secure this national championship. A scooper over the top. Silva Fernandez bent, but will not get it. Into Moore. Back to Hankey now, cross field. Costello looking for more. Off the line, a floating disc. Silva Fernandez going up, but Hankey is too tall. And that one into the end zone for the score, as the first national championship in program history goes to the Oklahoma Christian Eagles.
Huge grab there from Hankey to retain possession, and before the Pranksters defense can regather themselves, he rifles in the inside flick. Catching his 5th goal of the day is Evan Card, and just like that, your 2021 national champions are the Oklahoma Christian Eagles.
And that was just a really dangerous turn of events there in the last couple of throws. That one, you thought Silva Fernandez could have had a play on that. It was a really floaty disc, but Hankey just too tall and read it the whole way into Card for the score. And that is the ball game. Any surprises from you in this one?
I think the only surprise is that we didn't see more experimentation from Middlebury to try and slow down that Oklahoma Christian offense. But to that Oklahoma Christian's offense credit, I mean, 2 turnovers in a whole game, and both those came on 1 point. I mean, they most of their holds were completely clean, perfect holds, and that level of execution is always going to be tough to overcome. They had the top-end talent, but beyond the top-end talent, they were also incredibly focused and dialed in and did everything they needed to do. As we see them plant their flag in the middle of the field there, they are fired up. First championship in program history as we see their coach get the water dumped on his head there.
I mean, give credit to where credit's due. They executed their game plan to perfection offensively, and they never looked back in this one.
You know, it was a combination, too, of running their system, running their sets, and making the easy goals and catching the easy ones and setting those up. But they also made a number of big plays. I mean, we saw Hankey make multiple big-time grabs over his matchup. We saw Elliott Moore with a few big grabs as well. And, you know, you got to have that combination, right? There's going to be times where things fall apart a little bit and big-time players have to make big-time plays. And Oklahoma Christian's players certainly did that here today.
And then if you're Middlebury, you got to keep your heads up here in this one. I mean, that's just a tough team to play there in the championship final. You made it to the championship final for a reason. You're a very good team. It just didn't go out your way this time.
Yeah, I don't think they can be too upset with themselves. I mean, they only got broken twice. I think that if you told Middlebury before a game that, hey, your O-line's only going to get broken twice, I think they're going to feel pretty good about that and know that they have a chance in that game and that they would probably think they would win it. And I think in any other game this weekend that would be enough to win it. But against a crisp team like Oklahoma Christian, the defense just didn't create enough chances. And, you know, they should certainly be proud of themselves. They'll look back at this game and probably see moments that they wish would have broken their way. But they have nothing to hang their heads about. They should be proud of the effort they put forth in this game.
So 15-12, the final. It looks like we are going to send it over to Scotty Dempsey there with Elliott Moore and Kyle Hankey post-game.
We see all the Oklahoma Christian players celebrating.
So now down to Scotty.
All right. Oklahoma Christian are your D3 men's 2021 national champions. I'm here with Elliott Moore and Kyle Hankey, who had some significant plays throughout this game. Boys, what does it mean to you to be national champions in such a young program for your first time in the series?
I mean, it's awesome, right? I showed up spring of 2020, semester after the program even started. And, you know, that was obviously a buzzkill, but building up the depth, having the time and to work here, you know, working on our throws, working on our forces, just the basic stuff to bring a bunch of guys who really didn't know how to play Frisbee to a championship level team in a year and a half, 2 years. It's amazing.
Yeah. Kyle, you are a graduate student at Oklahoma Christian. What does it mean to come back and relive some college ultimate days where the true heart of the game is?
Right, that was the goal. It's just a lot of fun to share a college field with Elliott. We never got to do that. And just really cool to get to be a part of these guys' lives. I mean, we've got a guy from Kenya, a guy from Connecticut. These guys don't get an opportunity to be on this stage if we don't have this scholarship program going. So very exciting for those guys and just get to be a part of all that excitement. So fun. Yeah.
So all weekend, there's been a lot of standout names, but today Evan Card and Michael Peniagua really stepped it up. Do you have any thoughts on how some of these boys that maybe haven't been the standout players really stood out today?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, our depth was very good. Our high end behind Elliott and I, of course. But man, it's a lot of fun to see those guys shine. This is their stage more so, and it's really, really exciting to see those guys excel.
All right. That's about all I've got for questions for you guys. Do you have anything else or what's coming next for Oklahoma Christian?
Just wait till the spring. It's not a one and done.
All right. Looking forward to it. Thanks so much and congrats again.
So, Mike, in this one, 15-12, the final there with Oklahoma Christian becoming the college champions there. Any final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I thought that interview was interesting. You know, we're going to see some highlights here of Hankey and some of the big grabs he made. And I think he certainly acknowledged that he and Elliott and their top-end talent was what helped elevate this program, but hearing them talk about investing in the rest of the roster and teaching the rest of these kids the game and helping make them better and seeing that pay off with guys like Paniagua and Card having big games in the final, that's cool to see. The narrative after this game is going to be a lot about OC's stars, but the Stars' commitment to the program and helping build up the bottom of the roster is what paid off and led to this national championship.
So there it is, your 2021 college national champions, the Oklahoma Christian Eagles, here with a final score of 15-12 here in the D3 men's final.
Yeah, thanks for joining us this weekend. This was a lot of fun to be on. This is a lot of fun to be on the call with you, Adekale, as we see the bracket and how everything ended up shaking out. A lot of fun games this weekend, a lot of talent that we got to see, but at the end of the day, Oklahoma Christian were able to outlast their competition, riding their elite offense, who played a perfect final to get their first ever national championship.
Just what a day. What a great game. Look at the final highlights there from this game. Just a great day of ultimate. And Oklahoma Christian just coming out on top in this one. A little too much for Middlebury. 15-12 is the final.
And Adekale, we've got one more game here today. We hope everybody jumps back in with us. It's going to be at 12:30 local time, the D3 women's final, where we will see Middlebury once again with the Lady Pranksters taking on Portland Uproar in what should be an equally exciting game.
So on behalf of Mike Ball, I'm Adekale Ande, and so long. Stay tuned here for more coverage of the national championships right here on Ultimo.